And good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, September 29th. It would be day 84 in the Big Brother house, but of course, Big Brother is now over for the season. And we have a winner. We have second, third. We have lots of things to talk about, so let's get to it. I'll try to do this in some kind of order. I left you guys a podcast yesterday letting you know where we thought things stood. Just a quick little reminder. I believe it was simply if Ashley wins, she's taking Vince. If Morgan wins, she's taking Ashley. And so it all came down to who won part 3. But let's go back a half a step because the TV show brought us some things that we hadn't seen. And so we saw part 2 and part 3 played out on TV. So allow me to get to those. Part 1 of the head of household competition that Morgan won. Ashley lasted until about 28 minutes in on this thing, which they were hanging from. That would basically, they were like in a cross position with their feet planted, their hands holding onto bars, and it would turn literally vertical so that they were kind of having to hold themselves out, not quite planking, but you know what I mean, that just basically holding their hands above their heads, their feet pushed out, and I suppose they had to kind of push outward, up and down, but except they were in a vertical position, to hold themselves, and there was spinning involved. And Ashley and Vincent both said the spinning eventually got to them. For Ashley, again, 28-second mark, she gave up and dropped. Vincent lasted another half a minute or half an hour, and then he dropped. So that's how Morgan won part 1. Next step was part 2, which we finally got to see. We knew Vincent had somehow bombed it. He admitted that he sat there for a half an hour watching, just frustrated. As it turns out, Vincent had to establish things. So it was in 3 parts. The 3 parts were they had to knock down a wall of blocks. They had to knock down 3 walls of blocks. Then they had to take those blocks and assemble them, some of them into a smaller wall of pictures of the evicted house guests in the jury. And once they did that, they got to make assemble or take numbers and put them on a similar image. And it was the phrase said that they needed to the combination for the lock. It was what they were opening to unmask the mastermind. The combination was the order of eviction of the house guests of the jury. So in other words, they were 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, or 8, 7, 9, 8, 7, 6, whatever it was. And Vincent was the first one knocking all the blocks off the wall. They had to hang from a thing and kick their feet out. We've seen that before. We've seen that part of the competition before. Assembling the wall. He had his wall assembled, I think before, or close to being before, Ashley even had her last block kicked off. So he was quite a bit out in the lead. His problem became when he got to his wall assembled, when he read the clue, he misread the clue. The clue was the order that they were evicted. He read it as the days they were evicted. And so he was putting like day 75, I'm making up these days, day 41, whatever. He had those for the different blocks. And Ashley was doing it as well. And they were both getting all kinds of beeps that they were wrong, except for Ashley caught up with Vincent, right? Vincent had been doing this for quite a while, and Ashley managed to catch up with him because he was not having success. And he was getting very angry and very frustrated because it didn't make sense to him. And eventually, Morgan and then Ashley realized it was, she reread the clue and realized it was the order of eviction, not the days of eviction. And so Ashley figured it out, she completed it, and Vincent lost. Vincent proceeded to go behind his wall of things and crouch down. He was out of embarrassment, shame, whatever you want to call it. I said he found his bush, going and hiding because like Rachel did in one of her seasons when she was so upset about not doing well or just upset in general. So that's how Ashley won part 2, and that's why Vincent was so upset and hard on himself, because he had that clearly won. He should have won that competition, and Ashley won it. And oh, what a difference it might have made, right? It very well could have been the difference in his game, because he would have potentially had control over what he went. And that leads us to part 3. Part 3 is Morgan against Ashley, and we've seen it before. The jury members, the 7 jury members, each make a statement or make 3 statements, and you're supposed to guess the false one or say what the false one is. Morgan missed 2. Ashley didn't miss a 1. So when they got to the 4th one, it was like, you've won. Ashley, you've won. So Ashley won part 3. Now Ashley is in control. Ashley gets to decide who goes home goes to jury between Morgan and I just realized something. The number of questions as I say that, it's like, wait a minute, they didn't have 7 jurors yet because one of the house guests was a juror. I don't care. I'm not going to try to figure out how that worked. We never got to them all. Ashley won easily. So we have our vote. We have our vote out where Ashley gets. They make their pleas. Vincent made his plea and said, I think you lose against Morgan. I think you have a chance to beat me. Morgan said, do what's best for you, or whatever Morgan said. I want to go to the finals. Ashley said it straight up. She said, you know what? I do feel that I have a chance against Vince. I don't think I can beat you, Morgan, so I'm taking Vince. So Morgan got evicted. And she was not surprised. There were tears. There were hugs. She heads out. And now we're down to just Vince and Ashley. And now we do a bunch of the other stuff, right? We bring out the jury. Julie talks to the jury. I'm not going through all of that. They get to the final questioning. Let me think. Do I want to tell? Let's do this. Let's break away from that for a minute before I tell you how that all went. To talk about the mastermind, because they brought the mastermind back. Oh, in part 1, when Ashley won, then they, quote, unmasked the mastermind, and it was Will Kirby, right? So they bring Will Kirby out in handcuffs and walk him across the stage of the competition, and he's yelling, I was framed, I'm not the mastermind. That's what we saw. Again, they weren't supposed to talk about it, is what we heard, but Morgan had revealed it, so we kind of knew that was coming, so we weren't surprised, although we didn't hear about the I was framed part. And Julie hinted, was she framed? Was he really the mastermind? So I was like, oh, okay, there's more coming. Well, the more coming came. Did it come before the final questioning? I don't even remember at this point, and it may have, so maybe this does work up chronologically. So we saw, or maybe it came right after the questioning, but we saw the mastermind, quote, entering the house, and they came back from a commercial, and they cut to the inner sanctum of the where they did the questioning in the final head of household, when Keanu got evicted, and they show a mastermind removing his mask, so it's a different person. Oh, look, it's Jesse, Mr. Natural, and he's saying he was screwed over by a twist, and this was his revenge, was to be the twist. since he couldn't beat the twist. They say if you couldn't beat the twist, if you couldn't beat the twist, be the twist, or whatever. So that was what they said. But then you hear more music, and oh look, there's another mastermind, and it's Frankie. And Frankie is talking about the twist that screwed him over his season, and that's what Jesse had said. There was a twist that screwed him over his season, and he's getting his revenge. And then you have a third mastermind, and it's Eric from Big Brother 8, who says the big America's Player twist screwed him over, and so that's why he did it. So all three of them conspired together to do this. So they were all three the mastermind. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but it was part of the storyline. That was it. The masterminds were apparently Frankie, Jesse, and Eric. As I said last night, I saw Eric on the night of the premiere, so he wasn't doing anything that night. I posted my picture with him, but I do wonder if Eric even had any idea that they were doing this, that this was going to be the plot line when he was at the premiere night party. Also, as was pointed out by someone, it's interesting that they talk about a twist screwing someone's game over when Rachel's game got screwed over by a twist this year, right? So, kind of an interesting thing, and that is kind of why I wonder, did they, is that the theme? Did they come up with this because of that, or were they actually doing, we're going to have a twist that screws someone over, and that's our excuse for it? I don't know. I'm not sure, and no one will ever admit to it, whatever it is. But let's talk about the finale, the questioning. So the questioning happens. They get their final pleas. Well, they answered the questions. First of all, they brought out the jury. The jury asked their questions. Vince got questions. His questions were implying, you weren't truthful, you were sneaky, you were a liar. And Morgan's questions were from Rachel and from Will. And, we're pretty much here. Let's give you a chance to explain your game. And they were very nice questions. And I am not saying that there's anything wrong with either of those, other than it gave you an idea that, this jury is not voting for Vince. Also, when they did the jury roundtable, Rachel was like, you can't, she defended Vincent. It's like, oh, okay, she's defending Vincent. I all along, I said there's no way Rachel's not voting for Ashley. And so when the jury roundtable happened, I thought, oh my gosh, maybe she is considering it. Well, when they did the jury questioning, it's like, oh no, she's not considering it. She was so excited when Morgan came out that meant that Ashley was going on to the, going to be in the final two. It was like, oh, she's voting for Ashley. It's just no way. So they did the jury questioning. Then they had the chance for their last remarks. Ashley's was not identical to what she did last, late night, the night before. But I had posted that one in the backyard, but it had most of the elements. And during the jury questioning, she was slipping into her final arguments to the point where Julie had to cut her off. It was a very polished, and it was a very polished closing answers to questions and closing arguments. It was almost robotic in the fact that it was just so rehearsed that it didn't seem natural, and that's fine. It didn't matter. She had her facts down, and she was going until Julie cut her off every time. Her final plea went the same way. She went through a whole thing, compared herself to Legally Blonde, which is what she did in her practice ones, revealed that she was an international lawyer, but it turns out Will, she had told that to Will, and she wanted that to be her big reveal, but Will had told everybody in the jury, it seems, or had told some of the people in the jury, I think especially Rachel, and Rachel made the comment on the stage when the jury was being questioned before they met the house guests, and she mentioned that she was a lawyer, and a couple of people said, she's a lawyer? What? Now, I don't think they knew. I think they were shocked, but it was like, oh, okay, so the cat's out of the bag. The lawyer thing won't be a big reveal. And indeed, I don't think it was. Vince's plea, after his shaky question and answers and stuff, it was almost like it was too late. But I would say, by the way, Morgan did decide to ask Vincent her question, and she decided, and that gave him a bit of a softball that he got to kind of get back on his feet a little bit, almost like he'd been knocked down twice, and he stands back up. He's a bit wobbly, but he kind of throws a few flurry of punches And then came the final questioning when Ashley made her quotes, and she got applause from the audience when she was done with her plea. And then Vincent went, and his plea actually was fairly decent. Any other year, it could have been a winning plea, right? That's how it felt. But he didn't get applause, and he didn't get much reaction. It was kind of like, oh, this is just not going well. Look, I'm not sugarcoating here, folks. If you were watching it, you would have known by then. It's like, there's no way Vincent is winning this competition. There's just no way. The voting happened. Rachel said she's voting for I don't know what she said. Something about you don't have to, for the person who won you won enough competitions to win, kind of thing, or they won competitions when they needed to. Which sounds like, oh, Vincent won a lot of competitions. But in reality, what she was saying was Ashley didn't need to win many, and she won the ones she needed to. So, and Will said he was voting, this vote was for his little girl. Well, he called Ashley and Morgan his little girls in the house. So, actually, Julie had to point out to him, don't reveal your vote, please, to them. And then Kelly said something where she was voting for the person who had the best social game. It all came down to you knew how it was going. In the end, Julie reveals the votes, and Morgan is the only one who voted for Vincent. It was 6-1. She only got to 4 votes before it was over, again, and then at the end she revealed the extra votes. And yeah, Morgan was the only one to vote for Vincent. Vincent lost 6-1. Then they did the America's Favorite House Guest, and the top 3 were Will, Keanu, and Rachel. And then Julie said the winner got 65% of the vote, and it was Keanu, which we had heard that was going to happen. And there you go. It goes to show that the casuals carry the vote when it comes to America's Favorite House Guest, because once again, the online community, and I know some of you wanted Keanu to win, but there was a very vocal, strong part of the community that wanted Rachel to win because they felt she got screwed over, and because there's a lot of fan people out there for Rachel. But I do think that even the old-time fans who are only casuals still didn't care for Rachel from her first couple of seasons and liked Keanu. So I'm not surprised. And Keanu was a very gracious winner. That, my friends, is about it. I don't think I can talk much about anything else. I've watched so far Sharon's interview with Vince this morning. I watched it while I was getting ready. That's the only thing. She's posted 4 of them. I plan on watching those. Mike Bloom has also posted all of his. I will share those on Blue Sky. Give me a couple of days now to decompress myself and think about things and hear some of the rumors, and I'll share some more stuff probably. But it was a good finale. It really was. It was a good season. And there was a lot of people that came back and said, I thought when Rachel was gone, it was a done season, and it turned out being good. So it was a good season. Julie said, see you next summer. She didn't say see you in the winter. Take that for what it is. Yeah. So there you go. I'm fine with Ashley as a winner. She did what she needed to do to win. I would have been fine with any of them as a winner. Any of the final 3. I think Morgan deserved it more, but Morgan just lost it on the final very final part 3 was very dramatic, and Morgan kind of had a mental click, and she doubted herself, and yeah, she didn't get it. I wasn't paying attention to the questions. I don't try to listen and figure those things out. So they are for the pros. I would never win a final 3 or a part 3. I would just be all over the place. So what was I trying to say? What I said earlier, the what, and Mike Bloom pointed out the what is, but my what if right there was, what if Vincent had won part 2? Then it would have been Morgan and Vincent. Now, Morgan said she would have taken Ashley. I mean, she was going to probably take Ashley. And Vincent even said with his interview with Sharon, although he wouldn't commit to it exactly, but it was kind of implied that he might have taken Ashley instead of Morgan to the final 2. So I don't know. And I don't think Vincent would have won against Morgan. So I think Vincent was always playing for second. But I think, Ashley won it when she won part 2 because I got her to part 3. Anyways, interesting, good season, good time. Again, I'm not going anywhere quite yet. I even watched the premiere of Big Brother UK last night, yesterday, and I will be, the linkage for that will be on my Blue Sky for people to watch. I've already got the link. It's ready, and the YouTube video was available to everybody in the world up until sometime in the middle of the night when I woke up this morning and apparently it was no longer working. But I do have a copy, and I'll link to it in a bit this morning, and so people can watch it that want to. It's such a different show. There's only 12 people in the house. As I teased yesterday, I think they said they were going to evict a person the first night. I don't know who's been evicted. I don't know if it's been revealed to us yet, but there's that, and it's just definitely a different vibe. I mean, for the LGBTQ community out there, that any of you that are listening to this, if you want more representation on a show, Big Brother UK, the cast, the first member that went in said he was bi. The third person that went in said she was, what's the term? Oh gosh, I can't think of it. It's pan. It's pan, like anybody. That she doesn't have any particular type of person that she wants to be in a relationship with. And then they had a transgender individual go in, as well as at least one more, I'm assuming gay. But there was a person that went in that's trans that I was like, whoa, didn't see that coming at all. So that's at least 4 out of the 12 are in the LGBTQ community. So that's a pretty darn good representation. So if you're interested, you might check it out. They also have someone who's very far on the right politically in the house too. So they've got all kinds of people that they managed to slip into that house. Also, one of the house guests is 18 years old, so their age range is much different in the house. And that 18-year-old may end up winning it. I could see her winning it. So there is that as well. Okay, that's it for that. Again, the link will be out there. I'll be watching the season. Someone said that was going in the house that it was going to be 7 weeks. I'm not sure if it's quite that long, but we'll see. And that's it, folks. I'm going to sign off. We'll talk again in a few days, probably, maybe even tomorrow. Maybe something will come up today and I'll want to talk. Last thing, I don't have any information on Vince and his girlfriend. She was not there, but Vince said to Sharon, like I said, the one interview I watched was Vince, and he said to Sharon, well, there was only 2 invites, so only parents came. He didn't mention that they were broken up. He didn't say, I've talked to her either, though, so who knows? But that's something that people are going to be dying to know, what their relationship status is. So once I know, sure, I'll let you know if I'm still doing these regularly by that time. All right, that's it. I'm done. Thank you for your support. I did put up my link to donations on my Blue Sky page. I changed my profile. I actually got a couple of donations yesterday. I don't know if those of you that donated to me through the Ko-fi thing are listeners to my podcast. If you aren't, you're not hearing this. But if you are, thank you very much. It's appreciated. I plan on reaching out to those of you that have done that and thanking you directly sometime this week. I just haven't even had a chance to look at things. It was a crazy day yesterday. So there you go. Now I'm done. I'm going to sign off. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you later, and be well. Bye-bye.